This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Sing that with me. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, a day to be seized, yeah. A day I can feel my spirit set free. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and high up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day all my dreams come true. Feel the Spirit working its way through. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and high up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Right, am I on? Okay, we go. Yes. All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning to those of you who have come out on this damp day. In a world where some of us have not, others are way too much. It's nice to have that, though, for me, that kind of quieter introspection time. Somehow this weather does that for me. So anyway, welcome. We're glad you're here. I'm Sue Witter. I'm one of the practitioners. And we are very, very glad that you took the time to join us today. Oops, did I start something that I shouldn't have? Oh, okay. Leave it to me to fuss with something I shouldn't. It happens all the time. Anyway, so the practitioner of the day is Kathy Royer. She will be doing our invocation and prayer. Kathy and I will be available for prayer after the service if you want. And we always welcome that. The practitioners will frequently say, "Make my day, ask me to pray." So we are today, Reverend Clyde is going to do the second half of the basic principles every January. Many centers around the world talk about the really fundamentals of who we are, what we teach, what we believe. And it's always, for me, I kind of chuckle. I'm in a class, I was just telling Clyde, I was in a class, I had one this morning from 8 to 9, that is not a new subject. And so for me, even if it's something new, it's about, can I open my heart and my mind to be willing to hear something new? So that's why I love doing what you're doing now. It just that gives me the opportunity to hear something new. So we have a vision statement. If we can bring that up, if you will say that with me. We are a loving, joy-filled community honoring the many paths to God as we learn and live the Science of Mind principles. So we have a few things going on. January 25th from 1 to 3, Reverend Karen will be doing the Foundations class. And that's certainly one of those where even if you've taken it before, I guarantee you, if you take it again, you'll learn something new. February 9th, Kathy is going to be teaching the Essential Ernest Holmes class. And that is also an extraordinary opportunity to get a good, solid, grounded look at the principles that we use that are a part of our philosophy. And for those who've contributed to the food bank, thank you for that. There are announcements that come in the e-news, so if you don't get that, there's a place to sign up out in the lobby or see Cheryl. Cheryl is the knower of all things like that. But it's a great way to stay connected and to know what's going on with the community. And I think that that's probably it from an announcements perspective. So if you would, just get ready to go within, and the Bradfords will, in the right order, yeah. Bradfords will bring us to a peaceful place.
So just take a deep breath. Let go of any concerns you might have. We're just going to go within.
I will make a quiet place within my heart. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my life. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet
place.
Good morning. In this sacred, quiet place, there is but one essence, one love, one mind, one joy, beauty, health, freedom, light. And I choose to call this essence God. And as I am part of this essence of God, I know this is true for all of us in this room and those watching. In fact, I know this for the whole heart, for the whole planet. We all are one. We all are part of. And I say a word of blessing for Reverend Clyde today in his awesome message that's going to teach us. Teach us so that we may take what we learn and share with others. And I say a word of blessing for the Bradford and their awesome music, which always, always, always connects us and gives us that feel-good feeling. So I just release this service into the law, knowing that it's absolutely perfect and already done. And together we say, and so it is. Move this. So my reading today is from our Science of Mind textbook, page 448. The purpose of the science of mind. The whole purpose of the science of mind is to reconcile the apparent separation of the spiritual world, which must be perfect, with the material world, which appears imperfect. The spiritual world is the cause of the material. We are spiritual beings governed by mental law. Only that world can appear to us which we mentally perceive. Man's experience is a logical outcome of his inner vision. His horizon is limited to the confines of his own consciousness. Wherever this consciousness lacks a true perspective, its outward expression will lack proper harmony. This is why we are taught to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Since no one lives by proxy, but each unto himself, every individual must make the test in his own soul. We can think about that one. And so it is.
You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take. Bless the progress that you make, the reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Oh, the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when, where, or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes and take a breath and smile. Sing with me. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing. You will do amazing. You will do amazing things.
Put me on this mic. There we go. All right. I'm not sure what's going on with this mic. We didn't get to test it beforehand, but that is okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Clyde Goins. I'm the assistant minister here, and I want to welcome you here on this Sunday. Reverend Karen, who's our senior minister, she's out for the first couple of weeks in January. It's usually her time where she takes off and she spends some time rejuvenating, and we actually had dinner Friday night, so I got to spend some time with her, and she's doing very, very well. And it's usually really exciting because when she comes back, she's all pumped up and she's got all these great ideas of what she wants to roll out for the next year. And so it'll be very exciting and a lot of energy when she comes back. So, and then Saturday we had a professional miniature golf tournament with the guys, dining with the guys, with the dudes. And Mark, if you can come up. So Mark is the official winner of this golf course tournament that we had. Here is your prize, so thank you very much. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I will tell you that probably the hardest part of it was bending over to pick up that damn ball. We were all stretching, believe me, when we were doing it, but we still had a great time. We had a wonderful time doing it. So thank you for organizing that, John. So I'll tell you, the Dining with the Dudes, we've been going really strong and doing things pretty regularly. We meet every Saturday, so if you're a dude, you can join us for breakfast once a month on the second Saturday of the month. We meet at Brothers, and we get together, tell lies to each other, and support one another. And then we go on outings every now and then. So it's a great, great experience. All right. So like Sue said, we're continuing our talk from last week. Last week I talked about 5 spiritual principles, and this week we're going to talk about 5 more spiritual principles. It was really funny because when I finished the talk last week, and I was talking, I can't remember who I was talking to, and they were worried that I was going to go through all 10 of them during last Sunday. And I'm like, no, because they thought we were going to be here for a couple of hours. I'm like, no, we only did 5. So last week we talked about oneness, love, creation, the threefold nature, and the creative process. So which one of these do you understand and embody? Which one of these do you need to sit with some more and spend some time with? So as Sue pointed out, Reverend Karen is going to be teaching the Foundations class starting January the 25th, which is next Wednesday from 1 to 3 o'clock. And so a couple things about that. Number one, if you've never taken that class before, and if you're ready to change your life, or if you're ready for your life to change, I would say, then this is an incredible class to take. It teaches us will teach you the basic foundation and what we believe in the spiritual principles. And the special caveat to this is that Reverend Karen is different. Right, so she's gone through a lot, and so the way that she's going to be teaching the class is going to be different. So if you have the time to do it, I strongly invite you to join that class. And then again, if you've taken the class before, like Sue pointed out, you will always learn something new because you're different today than you were when you took it the last time. And me personally, I've shared this with you guys. I took the class 3 different times, and it changed my life every single time. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the next 5 spiritual principles, but they're not as sexy as the ones that we talked about last week. Okay, and the reason why I say sexy is because last week they're really about the co-creation of life, right? And so I tell this to my boss all the time that I work in healthcare, and I share with my boss that this project I'm working on is not very sexy because you don't really get to see. Sometimes we're working on the foundational stuff or rules and policies, and those aren't sexy at all, right? And then other times I'm working on something that it's making a difference, and it's very obvious to everybody the improvements that we're making within our company. So these 5 principles that we're talking about today aren't going to be as sexy, but they're just as important as the 5 that we talked about last week. All right, so let's start off. So the first one we're going to talk about is, there we go, spiritual laws. So universal spirit maintains harmony, equilibrium, and balance through spiritual law. There are various expressions and uses of spiritual law. For example, the law of correspondence, the law of attraction, the law of giving and receiving. Spiritual laws are impersonal, they're consistent, and they're intelligent, and they're always operating. Consciously, individuals can learn to use these laws to create and change our conditions. So spiritual laws are just like physical laws. For example, gravity. So we can't see gravity, we can't feel gravity, but we know it's there, right? Do we ever worry if our cars, when we go out to the parking lot, our cars are going to be floating around in the parking lot? No, we know that the gravity is always working. Do we ever worry that the gravity is going to work for me and not for you? No, because the gravity is always working, right? That's how the spiritual laws work. They're always working, right? We have faith that they're always working. There's no doubt that they're never working. Well, spiritual laws work the same way. They maintain harmony, equilibrium, and balance. So let's talk about the law of correspondence. Life reflects back to us what we believe. And this is how life teaches us and how we learn and grow. Okay, and so when we experience something, and I'm sure all of us has experienced the same or similar situation multiple times, And the reason why we keep experiencing those experiences, they may be slightly different. It may look different. It may be a different person. It may have a different name, but we haven't learned the lesson yet, right? And until we learn that lesson, then we haven't grown and moved past that. And I was watching our Fred and I's favorite news show this morning, and they had a story on there about Pamela Anderson. And I thought it was a beautiful story. And one thing I didn't know is that she was married 5 times, and she was married to some pretty interesting people. But what I want you to hear is that she went through it 5 times, and especially the people that are married or in a relationship, we know what it takes to be in that relationship. And so what I had compassion for her of trying to figure out, and still today she even says that she's not clear on what a healthy relationship looks like, and she's still working on it, right? So we're always working on this stuff until we learn from it and we grow from it. So another law is the law of attraction. So we attract what we are attracted to. What we attract to us based on the energy that we're putting out. So are you putting out positive energy, or are you putting out negative energy, right? And a real simple example is that, when you know those people, right? So we know those people that have a little negative energy going on, that they may be always complaining about something, or everything is always terrible. How much time do we want to spend around those people, right? Versus other people that are tackling their challenges head on, and they're trying to live and experience and express life, every day, right? We're attracted to those people that are have those positive energy. So are you giving off positive energy? Are you giving off negative energy? And this is not a judgment. This is simply a question of how are you expressing your life. And then finally, the law of giving and receiving. First question we need to ask ourselves is, what are we receiving right now? Maybe you want it, maybe you want more of it, and maybe not. Maybe you want something different. So first, ask yourself, what are you receiving right now in your life? From your family, from your friends, from your work. Then the second question you ask is, what are you giving? Right? The law of giving and receiving. Whatever we are giving out, we're going to receive right back to us. And it's that simple. Again, it's working all the time, right? So when we understand and accept this law, you take full responsibility for your happiness. So the spiritual laws are always in play, and when we live a conscious life, we can use the laws to create the experiences that we want to live. We teach this every Sunday. We teach the spiritual laws and how they work, but you get to decide how you want to use them. So some personal experiences for me, the law of correspondence. I pay attention to my life, and I'm always asking myself, what do I need to learn from this situation? How do I need to grow? I consider myself a self-help junkie, right? But I don't look at that as a bad thing anymore, because I want to learn and grow and express more life. And that's how you do. That's how you do it, by learning from those experiences, right? And so relationships are our biggest gift from life, to learn and grow, right? So again, it's going to be the same story, a different name, a different face. And Pamela Anderson's story is a perfect example of that. The law of attraction. My glass is always half full. And I received compliments from all my friends that over the years they're always telling me about how positive outlook that I have on life, right? So regardless of the condition, I cherish those sweet moments, right? So a couple weeks ago, I was in El Paso with my dad, and I was just sitting there having breakfast with him. And I'm going to share some more about the story about his life in a little bit, but we were sitting there having breakfast, and I was just cherishing that moment, just sitting across the table from him and having coffee and just having a conversation. But I also stay open to learning something new, or learning a new opportunity in my life when I'm going through those difficult challenges in my life. I always make lemonade when I receive lemons. So the law of giving and receiving. So I'm a giver. Right? I know I'm a giver. So my growing edge is receiving. I've learned a long time ago that I need to learn how to receive, because the gift in allowing another person to share their love with you, that is a gift to them. And that's why I love hugging so much. In that moment, we are both giving the love to each other. So pay attention to those hugs, right? So when you hug somebody, do you get the embrace and the stillness and you feel the energy? A lot of times, and not to badmouth the men, but what you get from the man is a pat on the back, right? The men pat you on the back, but they're still giving the love how they know how to give that love, right? So feel that love. Cherish that moment when you have that embrace. So I feel like our society has moved from handshakes to hugs. We have moved from greeting someone to connecting our hearts. So are you living a conscious life? Do you take responsibility for your joy and your happiness? Do you believe in the spiritual laws? So spiritual beings. The one infinite reality is both transcendent and immanent. Individual human beings are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe, having a human experience. This is our true nature. We believe that we're spiritual beings. Where did we come from? Where are we going? The human experience is our spiritual journey to create and experience life. We were not born in this world to be doctors, to be lawyers, to be garbage men, to be mothers, to be ministers. Our sole purpose is to experience life and to remember the truth of who we are. Just like Kathy read in the invocation, our horizon is limited to the confines of our own consciousness. We are limiting our experiences and how we express life because we forget that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We forget that there's infinite ways to experience and express life. So we have labels that we take on to help us identify ourselves. Why are we choosing that path? So I've always worked in healthcare. I've worked in healthcare all my life. I started off as a medic, and then in the military, in the Army, and then I became a medical biller in the civilian life, and then I moved into working in registration and registering patients. When you go to the hospitals, they register patients. And now I'm a process improvement guy, working on national projects that help improve our cash flow and reduce costs for over 50 hospitals across the United States. I'm an assistant minister of a loving community where we learn and grow together, where we love and support one another. I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing today, but I keep saying yes. And I ask, how can I support this person or organization? How can I help them succeed? But what happens when we lose that identity? It's hard for some people to continue to express life. Loss of a spouse, loss of a child, loss of a position or a title, even loss of our health. When we experience the loss, it's hard for some people to recover. What happens is we get stuck or we become resentful. We forget that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We forget that there are infinite ways to experience and express life. So like I said, I visited my dad a couple weeks ago, and then I visited him about a month ago. He had surgery about 2 months ago. He had heart surgery, triple bypass surgery. And I'm going to be honest with you, we didn't think that he was going to make it. And the surgery was successful, but I wasn't sure if he was still in the game. And so that's why I went out there a month ago to visit him in the hospital to find out. I want to support him where he is. I told him I wanted him to be in the game. I told him I still need him, I still love him, and I wanted to be here. But I also told him that I wanted to support him on whatever he wanted to do. And so that's why when, like I said, a couple weeks ago when I went to go visit him and sitting across the table from him, and we're drinking coffee together, and he is back in the game again, I was very happy. I was very happy to have my dad back. But not only that we talked on the phone multiple times. And so when he finally got home, he was on oxygen, and he's still on the walker right now. But when I went there a couple weeks ago, he's not on oxygen anymore. And he told me that he wanted to stop using his walker, and he wanted to start using his cane again. So I knew he was back in the game. He also said that he wanted to start driving again. We had a different conversation. And I'm not going to share that with you. So can you see that we are spiritual beings having a human experience? We can look at new ways of experiencing and expressing life. If you're stuck, we encourage you to work with a practitioner. Just like Sue mentioned earlier, we have practitioners after service that you can come up and pray with them after service so they can remember the truth with you, that you're that spiritual being having that human experience, and life is perfect just the way it is. So if you're still here, life needs you to express and experience life. So let's talk about freedom. Freedom is our next spiritual principle. Freedom is the birthright of every individual. We are free to choose and create our experience of life. Life is about choices, and we are free to choose. No one can take that away from us. It can be restricted, but it can never be taken away from us. We get to choose what we believe. We are the microcosm of the macrocosm. We are creating our life experience every day by choices that we are making in every moment. What choice did you make in the past that allows you to experience what you're experiencing today? I don't think that we appreciate and honor the freedom enough. And I'm not talking about patriotic freedom. I'm talking about the freedom to create our experiences. We are born into this world with nothing. And look at your life today. Look what you have created for yourself, all based on the choices that you've made. Our freedom allows us to choose our path and our experiences. God's will for us is to choose life, to express, to experience, and to love. We forget that we have the freedom to choose and how we want to experience. We forget that we have the freedom to choose and how we want to experience challenges in our life. So do you jump on the bandwagon with everyone else, or do you choose to experience the experience differently? So remember that we are laying bricks on our spiritual path for our future based on every choices that we make right now. So are we limiting our horizon due to fear, anger, or malice? So I want to share another personal experience with you that a few years back, I used to work at Maryville Hospital, and that was one of the reasons why I moved out here to Phoenix, because of I took a position at Maryville Hospital. Well, Maryville Hospital closed a few years back, and when they closed, I was part of the team that helped shut the hospital down, and it literally felt like a sinking ship. Right, so having to get rid of the patients, and then having to get rid of the equipment, and then it was really quiet, and just it was a really eerie feeling to go through that experience. But at the same time, all the people that were going through that experience as well, all the employees, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of worry, there was a lot of anger going on, right? But where I stood is I chose to believe that there was more for me to do and there was more for me to express. And I'm not talking about shutting down the hospital, right? Because that wasn't any fun. But what I was talking about is what's my next job going to be, right? So I almost moved to Florida. I actually applied in Florida, and I'm glad I didn't move to Florida. And so I'm staying here, and this is it. I'm not moving out of Phoenix. I have been to Florida. What scared me more than anything was the hurricanes. But everybody's like, "Oh, it's no big deal." But long story, I'm not moving to Florida. It's over. But the point that I want to make, though, is that what's really interesting. So my company created a position for me to stay here, and I stay here, and I travel, and I have ran into some of these people that were working with me at Maryville. They're working in different hospitals in Phoenix, and I've ran into them over the last couple of years, and they're happier than they have ever been. So moving to these new roles, they really appreciate it, right? So if Maryville didn't close, we would have never had this opportunity. I would never have the opportunity to do what I do today, and I love my job now more than I ever have. So do you honor your freedom? Do you see that you are the artist that is painting the mural of your life? You get to pick the colors, the shapes, and the sizes. What have you done with this special gift from God? So let's talk about heaven. Heaven is a state of awareness. Heaven is a state of awareness of our true nature. We experience our true nature to the degree we become conscious of it. We actively seek to know the true nature of every individual and celebrate each individual's unique expression of it. This experience of our true nature is sure to be obtained by all. So we get to decide if we want to experience heaven on earth. It's not a place, but it's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. Our thoughts and actions can keep us in bondage and suffering, and sometimes it does feel like hell. But our thoughts and actions can also free us, and we can experience joy and bliss. God is not here to judge us. God is not here to test us. Life allows us to create our own experiences simply by what we believe and the choices that we make. We talk about the four kingdoms of consciousness to help us understand our spiritual growth. And last Sunday, I talked about the first two kingdoms, which is the victimhood, which is everything is happening to me, and I don't get to decide. And then we talked about by me, which I learn and I understand about the law and the creative process, and I know how the creative process works, and I start manifesting things all over the place, which is very exciting. So the other two kingdoms of consciousness that I want to talk about is the third kingdom is through me. Through me is I understand that I'm a part of something bigger, greater than me, God. And that I know that I am surrounded by the Spirit, not only flowing all around me, through me, as me, but there is no separation. When we're in this consciousness, we're aware that we're in the flow of life. So have you ever experienced in your life where you're working on something, you're trying to buy something, you're trying to do something, and everything all of a sudden just click, 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 everything clicks right together, and it just all flows so easily and effortlessly like it's supposed to happen. And you didn't do anything but just do your part. That's what that experience is like, of being in the flow of life and feeling how life is supporting you. Because life is always supporting us. And then the fourth kingdom is as me. This is where we're experiencing joy, love, happiness, and bliss. So when we're in this place, when we're in this consciousness, do we stop and really appreciate and honor that moment? And the reason why is because we don't live there, right? Unless we're going to be a monk and we're going to go live up in the mountains in a cave and meditate all the time, that's not where we live. We're actively living in society today, and so things are going to come up. And so those four kingdoms of consciousness, right? The victimhood, by me, through me, as me, we're constantly rotating through all of those consciousnesses, right? Based on the experiences that we're having. So my personal experience with this as me is I remember one day I mountain bike, and I was riding on the canal over by the stadium. And it was one spring morning, and I was just riding along my bike, and they're building like crazy over there now. But they had this big open field, and the farmers planted something, so the crops was new, so the plants were just about a foot high. So they're like this really dark, beautiful green. All the flowers were the trees were flowering, the plants were flowering, the water was flowing along on the canal. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. The sun was shining. The weather was perfect. There was mountains in the background. Are you getting a feel for this? How beautiful this was. So here I'm riding my bike, and I paused, and I was just like, And the other thing that I was experiencing with my bike, riding my bike, is that I felt like a machine, because I've been riding for a while, so I was getting tired. But I felt like a machine, and I felt like oneness with life itself. I could feel the bliss and the joy. So I started just yelling. I was yelling, just yelling out loud, right? I didn't know what else to do. And if there's people around me, I don't know what they were thinking. But I was so happy. I was so overwhelmed with this energy that I was just yelling because I felt so good. But that's not where I live. But the thing that I want you guys to remember is that we go through these kingdoms of consciousness over and over again, right? And if the more that we learn, the more that we grow, the more that we get to visit that place, right? That shouldn't be the destination. That's not the destination. But that is a place where it's not bad to take a rest break and go there for a while and enjoy that bliss and that life. All right. And then the last spiritual principle I want to talk about is eternal life. The one infinite reality is eternal. We believe in the eternality and the immortality and the continuity of the individual forever and ever expanding. So let me be clear. No one has ever lived on this planet for eternity. No one. We will all transition from this place. We just need to accept it, and we need to live our life fully. We believe that our souls live forever. Where did we come from? Where are we going? When we stop and think about our soul, the I that I am, the knower, the non-physical faculty of perception, where is it? Scientists have not been able to find it inside of us, but our soul is there, right? They can't find it. They don't know where it is. Well, we don't know where it is, but it is there. That's who we are. When we're born into this world, where did we come from? Where did our soul come from? So Disney has a really wonderful movie called The Soul or Soul, and he does a great job of trying to explain where the soul comes from and the soul purpose. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a really wonderful movie to watch. And it's really a wonderful movie to watch with kids for sure, but it's also, I think, designed for adults. So Ernest Holmes says that our body is the concrete manifestation existing in time and space for the purpose of furnishing a vehicle through which life may express itself. We are spiritual beings born into this world to express and experience life. Our bodies are made up of matter made up of electrons, protons, neutrons, just like everything else in the world, but we have a conscious soul. We are spiritual beings in this human vehicle. Have you had the same car for your whole entire life? No. So we're not going to have this body for our whole entire life. Our life is eternal. And so when we transition from this plane, from this planet, right, to wherever that is, and we'll just transition. We'll let this body go. So my personal experience with this. So my mom had passed away it's been about 15 years now. When I was taking a class, we teach a lot of classes, and we was taking a class on immortality, and I felt like I really got it. I really believe that we live eternally. Our souls live forever. I don't need to know how or why. I just believe it. So I went home and told my parents, I'm not afraid if you die, right? I'm not afraid because I know that you're going to live forever, right? And I truly believe that. And then 6 months later, my mom passed. And I was like, really, God? But I still believe it. So every time I hear a mom and son story, or I see something in the movies, or I hear something on the news, I feel my mom's love wrapping around me. So what do you believe? I don't think we need to focus on where we came from or where we're going, but what are you doing with your life right now? We only have this present moment, and each moment is whole and complete, just the way it is. It's perfect. So let's not worry about where we're going after this life, but enjoy the experiences no matter what, no matter how sweet they are or how challenging they are. Say yes to life because we have an infinite time on this planet, and we are here to express love every chance that we get. And so it is. All right, so those are the last five spiritual principles. And again, we cover these spiritual principles over and over again every Sunday, so we can hear it and anchor ourselves in that truth, and we can learn to use those spiritual principles ourselves. So now what I want to do is what we did last Sunday. We're going to read what we believe. And so people online, so what we've done a little differently from your feedback from last week, we've actually will be showing the each statement that the people in our community is reading out loud. And the way it works is that one person will stand up and read one of the statements. We just ask that you can follow along when they read it out loud, and then the next person will read it until we get through everybody reading the statements. Okay? So Sue, will you start us off?
We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but it is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God.
We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit.
We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding.
We believe that heaven is within us, and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it.
We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all.
We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feels this indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth to our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a
All right, so let's go within. I just want to thank everybody for reading what we believe. So as we rest in those words, recognizing that that true spirit is in, through, and all around us, that loving kindness, that loving support, that creative expression, forever creating, that divine intelligence that's guiding all life is forever present right where we are, forever present in every action, and ever present in every person that we meet. Because I know that each person is that individualized expression of God, the agents of God, that we are here to not only support one another, to be that agent of God of love, but we are here to express life, to experience life, to grow and to learn. So what I know is that my life and every person's life is unfolding in divine right order. That we are always supported, that we are always guided, and that we are always surrounded by that love. And so as we move into this year of 2023, we anchor ourselves in these spiritual principles. We anchor ourselves in what we believe, that we know that we are that expression of life. We know that we have the power to co-create our life, to experience more joy, to experience heaven on earth. We have the power to change our life if we choose to change our life. And we have the power to love more people. And what I know is we choose love in every situation, in every action, because there is only love. So I'm grateful to know this truth. I'm grateful that we come together as the community to remind each other of this truth. I'm grateful that we come together as a community and see the presence of God in each other's eyes. And I know that life is perfect. Life is good because it only moves in one direction for that greater good, that greater expression of more good. So I simply release this prayer into the law, knowing it is already unfolding beautifully, knowing that 2023 is that perfect year for each one of us to be more, to experience more, and to be loved. And together we say, and so it is.
Grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look and every face I see is love reflected, shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have.
So thank you, Reverend Clyde, for giving us that opportunity to reground and to stand in really a deeper understanding of what we teach and what we believe and how it all comes together. So thank you. It's always such an important thing to me. It makes my heart smile. So now is our time for giving and receiving, and we are still not passing the basket, but we have a box here on the way into Papke Hall, one back in the corner and one out on home space that allows you to put your gift and tithe in. So go ahead and take whatever you're going to give, whether it's already been given like me through my bank. I have an auto deposit or auto payment. But to just hold that with your heart and repeat the joyful giving affirmation with me. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is. So I will just have one quick thing to say. So Reverend Clyde talked about dining with the dudes and the stuff that the dudes are going on. So the ladies know that in May, we are going to be going up to Flagstaff for an overnight retreat. So we're very, very much looking forward to that. We're going to be doing some planning for that this afternoon. And we're still working on the date. But we do know that it will be in May. It will be up in Flag, and it's at a great place. The military has a sort of a camp with lots of different housing options. It should be a lot of fun. So please, and very easy on the pocketbook. So we look forward to the women. We'll give you a date as soon as we have it, but already begin to plan in your consciousness. I'm going to do that in May. So thank you. All right, take it away.
Please rise for our last song. Oh, 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 it feels so good to be alive. Sing that. Oh, 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 it feels so good to be alive. I ain't thinking about my problems. I'm living now. I'm living now. And I ain't gonna worry about the future. I'm living now. I'm living now. So put your hands up if you feel like having a good time. Put your hands up if you're sharing love with all. Raise your cup if you're hopeful for tomorrow. Put your hands up if you're ready to have some fun. Now sing it. Oh, 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 it feels so good to be alive. Oh, 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 it feels so good to be alive. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live. Oh, 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 it feels so good to be alive. Oh, 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 it feels so good to be alive. One more time. Oh, 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 it feels so good to be alive. Woo.
Ooh, thank you, Bradford. So I love that song, and I love that it gets the energy going. I love when Janice back there starts dancing. So it makes me happy to see her dancing around back there. One of these days, I'm going to have her come up and dance in front of everybody. So, all right. So I just want to invite you guys to, if you're new visiting, please join us in the fellowship hall in Papke Hall. We have coffee and snacks in there, and so thank you very much for coming. So let's say our closing affirmation together. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is my life now. And so it is.